Around Joe podcast. We optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. On this edition of the All Around Joe podcast, I'm going to be talking about think about it. Okay, so the reason that we're going to be talking about this is because I feel like there is potentially a lack of common sense that's happening in the world today. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably the type of person that wants to better yourself, that wants to optimize your body, your mind, and just be more awesome than you are right now, and more awesome than those people that are around you. And hopefully you can set an example and teach some of those people that are around you, that are around me, to be more awesome, and then we can make the world a better place. How's that sound? If that sounds good, then keep on listening, because this podcast is all about thinking about it. And I'm going to get into exactly what I mean by think about it right after I talk about our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by the Get Better Project, which is my at-home daily workout program that you can do virtually anywhere. I literally do it anywhere. I have 2 dumbbells and a kettlebell with me in the van, which is, if you're watching this video or listening to it, you can see or hear that I am in the van here, our Sprinter van that we drive around and live in right now. And the van is currently parked in Chelan, Washington, which is one of my favorite places. And I'm going to be doing a Get Better Project workout here out on the patio in Chelan, Washington. So if you would like to do awesome workouts with minimal equipment, then you should check out the getbetterproject.com/getbetter and get started with us today. We're enrolling people every single week now, and it is just fan-freaking-tastic. So I highly recommend that if you need a workout program to follow, which is 5 days a week for us now, and you want to use little equipment or no equipment, check out the Get Better Project, because we'd love to have you. You would be hiring me as your coach, and there's multiple coaches in here. So if you need workouts, nutrition, all that fun stuff, head over to getbetterproject.com/getbetter and join us today. We'd love to have you. This podcast is also brought to you by Blonix, which is my favorite creatine product. The Blonix HMB Plus creatine is just hands down the best stuff that I've ever used. So if you would like to get more gains from your workouts, let's say you're doing the Get Better Project, or if you're a competitive athlete, I always recommend that people are taking the Blonix HMB Plus creatine. It is the best performance product that I've used, the best creatine product that I've used. I pretty much take the Perfect Aminos and the Blonix HMB Plus creatine and then eat really, really well as drink some Meta to keep me tip-top shape, and I am good to go. So if you'd like to try Blonix, go to blonyx.com and use the code AllAroundJoe to get yourself 10% off. Last but not least, you have to make sure that your body is in tip-top shape by testing regularly. So head over to the Inside Tracker website and check out their packages and get yourself a blood test done to see exactly how you can optimize your body by eating different foods, eating the right foods, changing the way that you do things, changing the supplements that you take. It's amazing. Inside Tracker is something that I highly recommend everybody does. And it's crazy because there's tons of people using the code AllAroundJoe right now at Inside Tracker to get themselves blood testing. So if you want to be one of those people that's optimizing yourself, head over to InsideTracker.com, use the code AllAroundJoe, and get yourself started today. All right, that's what we got for you. If you have any questions about any of those sponsors or people that are helping us to make this show possible, let me know. I am happy to answer those questions. But let's get into think about it. Why aren't people thinking as much as they should be these days? And I wonder if maybe that I am pondering these thoughts more and more because I spend so much time without the typical plugged inness that a lot of people are these days. So I realize that I am giving you guys content to be plugged into, and that's my mission, to help more people to be in shape in the world today. So less obesity, less overweightness, feeling better, looking better, all that stuff, because it's so easy with just a few ways to live. If you just live by these principles and take action, then you'll have these positive results, and your life is, from my perspective, on top of the mountain, way better than a lot of people that are running around down in the valley right now. So if you would like to think about it like I do, And because I'm not plugged in as much, because I do so much trail running without music and hiking without music, without any of these input things, I feel like my brain gets a chance to think about things a lot more, to really discover and ponder. Pondering is a great thing, to ponder not only what other people are doing and why they're doing it, but why I am doing the things that I'm doing and thinking about the thoughts that I'm having, because it's so amazing that you can change the way that you think. It is super amazing. And part of the reason that I'm thinking that people are, it seems like there's more depressed people, or at least I'm running into people that are having depression issues more and more. And it's interesting because I've definitely had thoughts, negative thoughts, and gone down that road of being like, man, I feel like I'm depressed right now. But I also have had ways, or been able to come up with ways of taking those thoughts that lead me down that rabbit hole of not feeling so good, and literally changing those thoughts. And it's not necessarily easy, but you get into this practice and it becomes easier and easier until the point where your thoughts are just positive, and you have to work at it, obviously. But I feel like maybe because we're in such a society of prescribing medications rather than actually figuring out why things are happening, and we just have these negative thoughts that we're thinking, and we can, teach our brains to think better, that there's just there's a lack of this happening, a lack of people thinking. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some things that I think you should think about more. And if you have any thoughts about this at all, you can definitely ask me, because I think that I'm thinking about them, you're thinking about them, let's all think about them together, and we can come up with better solutions for a lot of these things. So how often are you exploring ideas and thoughts and social norms? That's the question. Like, how often are you thinking, like, why is the speed limit here 35 miles per hour? Why did they put the road right here? Why is there a Democratic Party? Why do people have certain beliefs? How, what are the, think about social norms, right? Like, why is it considered rude to you when you're eating dinner with people to have your elbows on the table? Or why would some people think that is rude? All of these things. And it's not that one is good or one is bad necessarily. I'm just thinking, like, think about them. you know don't just let these things go by, because if you let too many things go by, the next thing you know, you're going to be taking in somebody else's thoughts and not thinking about why or what you want. All right. So that's what we're going to dig into. And I'm going to go over right here. And ask you when the last time was that you thought about any of these particular things. And hopefully we'll get you to start pondering them. And if you need to stop this podcast and think about them as we start talking, go for it. Stop, think about it, and then you can hit play again and get started. So here's the first one. Why do you view yourself on one side or the other politically? All right. Why is there a Democratic Party? Why is there a Republican Party? Do you associate yourself with one of those parties? If so, why? A lot of times, and the reason that I bring this up is because I talk to a lot of people that are really one way or the other, or they always vote in one direction, or they support, seems like for me, democratically. And I always question it and I ask them why. And it's not that it's bad, but they don't really know why. And when you dig into it, they don't actually understand why they would vote in one way or the other. And it's just really eye-opening to me that it's a very passionate subject for people to talk about politics, and they get really, really like fired up about it, but they can't actually tell you why in one way or the other. So I think that it's really important that you can tell somebody why if you're going to get fired up about it, and you should have thought a lot about that particular why, so that and actually have a reason for getting fired up about it. Because most times it doesn't really matter. Like, I would say that I don't associate, because there are certain things that I like and certain things that I don't like. So why do I have to choose? Or why is it even, a political system set up like that in the first place? I think it's wrong. I think it's outdated. I think it needs to be changed personally. And you shouldn't have to politically align yourself with one of these things. And the people that have had all this success in it, I think that they need to spend more time thinking about this, because there's something strange going on here. So ask yourself that question. When was the last time you thought about it? Here's another good one. Do you have any prejudices, and why? And the reason that this comes up is I feel like there's so much prejudice that are still out there including racism, having traveled all around this country, there's still definitely those like ingrained roots. And I'm just wondering if those people actually thought about why. Because to me, it's so on the other side. Like, I cannot actually understand it one little bit, racism, that is. So I'm just asking, have people thought about why they have those preconceived notions? And if you figure out a why, then explore why again. Like, dig yourself really deep into these thoughts so that you know what's going on and you know why you're having these thoughts and you can actually explain them to yourself. Because if you can't, then what are you doing with your time? Like, you shouldn't be filling your time playing video games and watching TV if you haven't even thought about these things. Come on, people. Get your head screwed on straight. Let's do this. Let's see. What makes you happy? This is a great one. And the next one that I want you to think about, thoughts. And having coached a lot of people, right? I have run into that most people that I coach have this idea of what will make them happy, but they don't actually know what does make them happy because they haven't actually thought about it or tried enough things to go down that particular road to know what the actual truth is. So it is amazing to me that this doesn't happen. So I want you to think about it. What do you think would make you happy? And if you think it would, go try it and see if it actually does. And there could be all these really little things that actually make you happy. And a lot of times people come up with material things that I have noticed. And it's not necessarily the thing that makes you happy. Like, I can tell you the thing that makes me the most happy is being around people that I enjoy being around, is working hard, whether that be physically or mentally, like actually challenging myself and working hard on a regular basis. Getting out into nature, that makes me happy. Like, being in nature makes me happy. I know that. I know that being around clean bodies of water makes me happy, and having views of nature makes me happy. Um, yeah, so if you and did none of those things are necessarily material. I know that as we're driving through the country and exploring, that exploring makes me very happy. That I'm figuring out what I actually want more from a solidified situation. So, like, where I want to live, how I want to be around, all of that interesting stuff. So some of those particular things have material items that you have to plug in order to make them happen, like a house or the van that we're in, right, is a material item. But it's not so much about that particular thing, but the actual things that you're doing and the situations you're putting yourself in that are causing the happiness. Food makes me happy. I love good food. It's very good. Delicious. Man, and it makes you look good, makes you feel good, assuming that you know what to eat and when to eat it and how to eat it and all this fun stuff, and that you're chewing it enough. So you have to think about all these things, guys. So what makes you happy? Really deep dive into this, because I want you to be happy. I want you to be a happier person. And you have to really think about it. Don't be lazy about this one, people. Write it down. Have some ideas for what you think might make you happy. Spend time going for walks and thinking about this types of stuff. What is important to you is another good one. And the interesting thing is that I don't think a lot of people know what's important to them. The society's told them what's important. So they just kind of go down that road. So think about what's important to you. You know, is family important to you? Is travel important to you? Is having a secure job important to you? Like, not things that other people have told you what you should think are important, but what you actually think are important to you. And going down that road as well, what standards or rules do you live by? Now, this is a really big one for me, because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten or have not been taught that they need to have a set of rules that they live by. And when we have shootings and we have, you know, people that are littering and polluting the environment and things like that, I think it's because they don't have any set of rules that they're living by. Like, I don't throw garbage out my window at the car because I don't want to live in a world that is, you know, disgusting and full of garbage. So one of the rules is that I do not litter. Seems simple, right? So what kind of rules do you live by? You know, you could take this so far. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I live by a rule that I brush my teeth every night. I floss every night. I brush my teeth every morning. Sometimes I miss that, right? Because there's certain situations, but it doesn't mean that it changes it, right? So I miss one, then I pick it right back up. I have a rule that I live by. I work out a lot. And the reason I don't say every single day is because I know that it's not healthy for me. So I work out about 4 or 5 days a week, really hard, and I have fun with it. And that's a rule that I live by. And if I have a week where I don't get to do it, then I just pick it right back up because that's something that I do. Another really interesting one that I thought about is I don't kill people. Straight up, it's a rule that I live by. I think that most people live by that one, but there are certain people that don't live by that rule. It's definitely a thing that people, they don't have that particular rule set up for themselves, right? So what rules do you live by? There's people that live by rules that that they don't eat meat. That's a rule that they live by. They're vegetarian or pescatarian or whatever they are. Right? People have rules that they're polite to everybody. They have rules around putting their elbows on the table at dinner time. So what rules do you live by? And ask yourself. And if you need to change those rules, change them. Absolutely. Create more rules for yourself or new rules. There could be, these rules you don't have to feel like they're caging you in. They're opening you up a lot of times, Like I have a rule that if I go to a public restroom and there is paper towels or toilet paper on the ground, I have made a rule that I pick it up, I clean it up because I want to live in a nicer place. Like you should totally, I don't understand why people have a rule that they don't drop toilet paper on the ground in their own bathroom, but they drop it on the ground in somebody else's bathroom. If it's a public bathroom, they drop it on the ground, they don't pick it up. What kind of messed up rule is that, guys? Happens all the time. I go to a lot of public restrooms, especially living in a van. I public restroom a lot. And rarely do I go over to friends' houses and see that they've got paper towels and toilet paper strewn all over the floor of the bathroom because they pulled it off the roll and it fell on the ground. They didn't pick it up. But I see that all the time in rest stops, restrooms, porta potties, whatever. So why do you live by that rule? And I'm truthfully asking you that. But I've got the rule of picking it up because I want someone else after me to go into that bathroom and think, oh, wow, it's nice and clean in here. I want them to have that feeling. That's a rule that I live by. So I pick those things up. So you have to think about these things. What rules do you want to live by? What rules do you want to live by? And when you have these rules set up for yourself, it makes it much easier to accomplish things because rules for like working out, for not drinking, or for drinking, whatever you decide your rules are, it makes your life easier to live. It makes it easier to live. It makes it easier to get you towards your goals. It really does. So think about, actually, write down what the rules are. At least think about them. They're like these set and standard things, that you probably aren't thinking about, but you need to be thinking about them. All right. So what rules do you live by? What standards do you set for yourself? Ask yourself, what are the rules that you live by? All right, coaching thoughts. So after coaching a lot of people, I've found that a lot of people are not asking themselves these questions. So when I ask these questions, when I'm coaching people, they really think about them for the first time. And a lot of times it's hard for them to think about them. It's not going to be super easy necessarily if you don't already think about these types of things. So know that you have to put it into a daily practice or a practice that you have regularly, where you think about interesting things that are going to make you better and going to make you happier and going to make the world a better place. Seriously. Think about them. All right. And no, like I said, it's not necessarily going to be easy, but ask yourself these questions. If you need a coach, you could try and hire me. I'm not usually available, but you could try that and I could ask you these questions and we could go through it together and help you to be more successful in life. But just know that you should be asking yourself these questions and setting up the awareness for yourself and those people around you. And you should be, oozing it out of yourself so that we can have a better world because of it. And I'm serious about this. So that's my coaching thought for you, is that you should be asking these questions to yourself on a regular basis, whether it's when you're falling asleep at night or whether it's when you go for a walk in the nature, which you should ideally be doing, whether it's, when you're working out on the air bike, doing your cardio, whatever. Pop those headphones out and think a little bit. think. So there you have it, guys. I want to make you better. I want to help you to be better, to get better, to achieve your dreams. And this is a way that you can get yourself closer to that. So you have to know what you want. You have to think about these particular things. You have to help make the world a better place. If you do that, and if you need help with that, let me know. I am here for you. You can access the show notes by going to allaroundjoe.com/215. That's allaroundjoe.com/215. And if you like this podcast at all, please give me a review on your favorite podcast review network. If you are listening on iTunes, which is where I usually listen to all of mine, you can go to allaroundjoe.com/iTunes, and that will take you right there. Every 5-star review that I get helps me immensely to get this podcast out to more people. So if you like this podcast, please give me a review. I'm on my way to getting to 100 5-star reviews right now, and I am super stoked about that. I am trying to get to that place, so please help me out. And if you haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, pound the subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, hit the subscribe button as well. Give me the thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, and like button if you're watching this on Facebook. And I appreciate the heck out of you guys. If you need anything at all, hit me up. Let me know. I'm here for you. And if you want to get yourself in immensely awesome shape with very little equipment, just a couple dumbbells, a kettlebell, or zero weights at all, head over to the getbetterproject.com/getbetter, and that will get you right to our sales page where you can sign up today. It is the program that I do on a regular basis. Emily and I actually test these workouts before they happen so that you have an idea of how long they're going to take, as well as we can test them to know if they are appropriate for the program. Sometimes I get into them like I did the other day, and I had way over programmed it, so I had to adjust it and make sure that it was the ideal program and day of working out for you. So head over to the getbetterproject.com/getbetter and join us today. And if you want the best creatine that I know of, go over to blonix.com. Use the code allaroundjoe to get yourself a 10% off discount, and make sure that you're testing yourself regularly. It is not your doctor's responsibility to keep you healthy. It is your responsibility to keep yourself healthy. Yes, it is. So you can start by going to the insidetracker.com and use the code allaroundjoe to get yourself 10% off. We do these tests every 3 to 6 months to make sure that we're in tip-top shape, and you should as well. And the only other time that I would say you don't need to do that is if your doctor is testing you regularly and giving you input on those blood test results. And I would still put those test results through Inside Tracker because they correlate them with what types of foods and supplementation and lifestyle choices you should be making. Sorry, guys. I'm very passionate about this. I think that everybody should be doing it. I think that you are not holding your own self accountable to your own health if you are not doing something like that. All right, that's what I have for you today. Head over to the Inside Tracker, use code allaroundjoe, and I will talk with you guys soon. Okay, here we go. The All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. I will see you on the next podcast.